Did Ronda Rousey just went all elite? March 15, AEW Revolution Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles. The woman who was supposed to be WWE's top female franchise for the next decade, as some would have said back then, walked out in front of 12,000 people and stood face to face with timeless Toni Storm. In WWE found out the same way we did. We are talking and breaking down 3 things. Did WWE drop the ball with Ronda again? Is she actually the right person to be part of AEW? And what does that tell us that Tony Khan just pulled off what Triple H couldn't keep? So let's get to it. Welcome to the T-Drop, Strong Brew, No Soft Behavior. Here's what went down. Toni Storm defeated Marina Shafir in the women's match at Revolution. Storm's doing her whole timeless, she drops on the floor at the ramp and so on and so forth. And then a person appears in the ring. Ronda Rousey, live in AEW. The crowd seemed to have a heavily booed reactions. It doesn't seem she was welcome. She goes face to face with Storm. Storm gets up, she smirks, she walks down the ramp, she gets face to face with her. Security had to rush in quickly and separate them because obviously we know what would have happened if it kept going. Rousey walked out through the audience with the heat just pouring off her. Now, we'll talk a few things rather quickly. We'll talk about numbers when it came to AEW Revolution. The official AEW YouTube clip for this encounter is currently pulling around 550,000 views in the matter of days. For a crossover event, I guess we shall call it. AEW Revolution 6 drew about 12,500 fans and had a 1.1 million gate. I did a million gates. Pay-per-view buys were up to 27% from the last 2 shows, Full Gear and World's End. Google search for AEW spiked 60% from those same shows and were 23.5% higher than even All In. 6 of the top 10 AEW searches the entire day. Ronda Rousey is the main one. HBO Max, where AEW streams, set its all-time record domestically apparently and internationally at around 140,000 viewers. On one appearance. That's what one appearance did. Somebody tell me if this is a big deal. I don't know. So let's go back to 2023. Ronda's WWE contract expired. She is done with the schedule, the politics, the product she was handed. Reports came out that WWE offered her a deal worth $2.8 million a year. Light schedule, limited dates. She said no. That's what she wanted, but she didn't get it, so she said no. Now, you could argue that was Ronda dropping the ball on herself. She had a comfortable seat at the table and walked away. But here's the other side of the story. A WWE veteran went on record and said that I'm not going to quote, and instead, we're just going to play it. And it's going to be Booker T first. This was 2 years ago.
Let me tell you something. You don't think Tony Khan is not savoring it? Man, we can get Ronda Rousey. I mean, pay her. Right now, Tony Khan, he's not worried about how much money he's spending. I really don't think so. I don't think Tony Khan is really concerned about how much money he's spending on getting these guys under that bat.
He's been throwing buttloads of money at anyone that he thinks will gain interest for AEW's favor.
I think he more so is happy, having those guys around and seeing those guys as a part of AEW. Man, that right there is that's a notch on the belt right there. Snatching someone like Ronda Rousey from WWE, just being able to say that. Come on, yes. If Ronda Rousey is smart, she'll sign a contract too. And make sure the contract is only for 10 days a year.
I mean, hey, look, the money's out there to get. I was a little surprised though. I thought she was done with wrestling. After the SummerSlam, I was like, oh, this is it. She's
I think Ronda Rousey loves this business. I really do. Yeah. But I think Ronda Rousey understands that, after all the work she's done, from an Olympic standpoint, how hard that is, from the training from when she was a little girl doing this, and then having that run in the UFC, taking it to that level. UFC, they're not on the road, 300 days a year, and then coming and jumping into this business and going, what the hell is this?
And that's probably the main thing. She was not used to all the traveling he's right. UFC doesn't travel to, I mean, they travel to events, but not on a weekly basis. They train at their compound, and then when the time comes, at their whatever UFC number, they'll go to that city, whether it's Vegas, whether it's Miami, New York, whatever. They don't have to do a lot of traveling week by week by week, or house shows. So she was shocked by all that, and that probably gave her a distaste.
We gotta get on the road. What? We gotta drive? We gotta do what? We gotta eat at Waffle House tonight? That kind of stuff. That right there is not that appeasing to most. You gotta be a road warrior to actually be able to pull
Road warrior, okay, Booker.
that out. You gotta be in the trenches and know you're gonna be in the trenches forever. Like Jake the Snake said, when you sign that contract, you are obligated to work every day. So for me, Ronda's like, man, I like this WWE thing. It's been cool having those WrestleMania moments with The Rock, whatnot. That's great. But man, I ain't got time to be on the road every weekend.
And she has a kid now too, so her priorities changed.
That ain't what I want to do. But for Ronda to be able to do this when she want to do it, I think AEW is the greatest place for her to be.
And that's true, because the way AEW runs some of their stuff, it's like limited time. You show up, according to some, they show up when they need to. They don't have to come every week. Wait, did she disrespected the Waffle House? I think it was more like Booker T just saying out loud she wasn't used to the traveling, that late diner eating scenario. So obviously he'll bring up Waffle House because it's probably one of the mainest things when it comes to wrestlers. Even to the muscle memory content creator, who his recurring segment for reels is, what is your Waffle House order? It's just a step, it's a keystone in, I think, wrestlers' culture when they travel. So I think it was just him doing muscle memory, reacting to that, him remembering that was his go-to place. Probably, I don't think Ronda was dissing Waffle House. She's dissing the schedule. She didn't like the schedule. It's not something she was used to. So now another veteran by the name of Dutch Mantell also talks about what happened recently. This actually is much sooner. This was this week, because James Romero asked him to react to the fact that Ronda Rousey is now in AEW, even though she didn't want to be doing this anymore. But anyway, let's take a look.
And when they got that, if they had 10 bombs, they said they had 10 bombs. I believed them, and
Ronda Rousey has debuted for AEW, Dutch. There was a 2-minute video on YouTube that I sent over to you, and that was pretty much the entirety of it. Just to catch you up, Toni Storm was celebrating after defeating Marina Shafir of the Death Riders, and then all of a sudden a hooded figure unhooded herself, went into the ring, and it was Ronda.
Okay, never disrespect the Waffle House. Of course, it's a keystone in everyone's American travel, even myself.
Rousey. What do you think of the whole segment? Tell us all of what happened.
well, I haven't been following the story, but I liked it. Who was the blonde girl? What's her name?
Toni.
Why have a podcast about wrestling if you're not paying attention to this? And if you're not, what's the point of talking about a thing that you're not paying attention to? Anyway.
Toni Storm.
Toni Storm. It was actually good. And who was the girl that helped Ronda Rousey?
That's Marina Shafir. They're friends in real life as well.
Yeah.
So that's the connection.
And they're both MMA fighters, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So I like that.
Okay.
That was pretty good. It was at least AEW has the time right.
Sure.
They didn't spend ungodly amounts of time going to the ring. They actually did something. Now AEW, I think.
Did they do something? It was just her standing. She points to the ring, trying to call Toni Storm. She does a little like she's tough and whatever, and then she smirks like the stupid Ronda Rousey smirk she always does. When she tries to confront someone, she just smirks because she's like, I'm gonna destroy you. She's so tough when she does WWE, but when she goes into MMA, she gets destroyed. She used to be good, but that's when MMA women wasn't a big thing. Once MMA women became big things and they became a keystone or a thing in UFC, real challengers showed up and destroyed her. And then she quit because they were destroying her too hard. So I don't appreciate when she does those stupid smirks because it's just annoying at this point. But anyway.
Their show is coming along. So I think.
All right, you have a fair point. Well, to be fair, he is old, so names don't really stay in their faces. So you have a fair point, Ryusuke.
To me, I don't want to say anything bad about WWE because they helped me out when I needed it. But I'm saying just in presentation, I think WWE has gone south and AEW has went north. I mean, they've gotten better, and I think WWE, who invented all this anyway, they brought all this, the presentation, the interest, they brought all that to wrestling, and they've gone south. And AEW, who did all their stuff based on what WWE did, they've actually.
I guess, I mean, if you're getting the crowd heated because everyone doesn't like Ronda in a wrestling ring, and it means whoever beats her is super over, sure, it was a good move by AEW. But if it doesn't work out, that Ronda just wants to win, it doesn't work in your favor now, does it?
Produce better presentations or entrances than what WWE's doing now.
AEW, so this is at the AEW Revolution pay-per-view. Yesterday, as we record this, 2 days ago when this episode comes out, they brought back on one show, Ronda Rousey debuted, had done one Ring of Honor show in 2023, and it was just kind of in and out, and that was it. Edge and Christian returned after 6 months away. Will Ospreay returned after like 9 months on the shelf due to neck surgery. Kenny Omega returned from a story injury. And Mystico, the former Sin Cara, the original Sin Cara, who's been burning it up in Mexico for years actually at this point, has officially signed with AEW as well. So it just felt like, crikey, this was a big pay-per-view with just a massive pivot in the amount.
It was all premieres and revolutions.
Stars. And they're all stars. You know, return to the company, which they're desperate for at this point. But with Ronda, I want to tell you this. With the video, she kind of just wanders into the ring and then unmasked and then whatever. And the crowd don't really react. And I was thinking, like Seth Rollins and all the people who've been doing the masked character recently, right?
Everyone, masked character's a thing. It should be a Halloween costume for this year.
They'll stand there and then they'll do the big shh and, you know, make a big drama of it. And then
Mystico showed up at Revolution.
The big cheer.
Yeah.
And then this was like the big wet fart of like, oh, who is that? What?
What
the camera
hell?
wasn't even on her when she got into the ring. And then the camera wasn't on Toni Storm when Marina Shafir attacked her. It's like,
okay, when Toni Storm, what happened to Toni Storm when I saw the what you sent me?
Video lagging.
She was laying out up on the top of the ramp. Why was she down?
She was just celebrating.
Yeah, that's timeless Toni Storm. She just
flopping
celebrates
like a fish and celebrating a win.
That's Toni.
I love that character. I love her interviews too. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's got to be all her.
Yeah,
because I don't think anybody else has the idea. I don't think in AEW creative. I think it's all her.
I think it was her. And,
you think so?
Yeah, I think it was her and one other, like some dude who works there as well called RJ City. They like collaborated on it.
RJ.
Character. But it wasn't Tony Khan, I don't think.
Are you saying, what if WWE got word of Ronda months ago and how they planned it and made sure it would have flopped? No, because they have confirmed that WWE wasn't aware of this and they were just as shocked that she showed up at Revolution. So I don't think they planned it. But then again, it could be a lie to deceive us all.
If that's what you were suggesting, I don't think it was Tony Khan. But yeah, it's just one of those things where it's just like a little thing.
Well, whoever it is, it's entertaining. I'm gonna say that.
Yeah, it's that little thing where they could have done that presentation so it would have had so much more impact. But like, it was like the audience went,
They were confused.
And they went, oh, and then they went,
they started boo.
What? And what the hell?
They finished with a.
We were expecting more. We expected something different.
Yeah, Danhausen. Bring Danhausen back.
Yeah, Danhausen got canyons.
You guys make Danhausen look great. That's too much. Now, they busted their ass on this, and you're sitting there laughing at it. But I will say, it was an entertaining 3 minutes or 4 minutes.
Well, that was 2 minutes. They got in and out there and moved on to the next thing. I appreciate that.
It was whatever.
Well, they got it in, and let's go. They kept moving.
So, you know how Ronda Rousey kind of hates wrestling fans?
Yeah, she hates us all.
And she hates...
The feeling's mutual, Ronda.
WWE, and now she hates UFC. I was thinking, because... Right, so she's fighting Gina Carano, right?
Who does...
Don't forget, yes, she is going to have... Her and Gina Carano are going to have a MMA match in a few weeks on Netflix. It will be part of Jake Paul's brand.
She like...
Marina Shafir.
MVP, I think it's called, or whatever.
Yeah, and that's it. I think that's the only person she likes. So, she was on the outs with WWE before she even left. UFC wouldn't book her and Gina Carano because they were far apart on money, so she had a problem with UFC.
Yep.
So that's WWE and UFC. That's TKO that she now dislikes both of their major sports divisions. And I'm wondering if she's gone to AEW almost to spite TKO. Do you think that's a possibility?
And what else is a possibility is Tony Khan gave her the money she wanted.
Well, I mean, she's got a fight to promote as well, so she could have done that for cheap just to get this.
To help promo her match at Netflix? Why not?
Could just be promotion, because I don't
Yeah,
think she's going to wrestle until gone May.
Well, I think she might have her own little, her and Tony have their own understanding.
Okay.
So I think it was a good move for her, and I think it was a good move for AEW.
There you go. So, why doesn't this make sense, WWE? Why did you allow this to happen? You're TKO, you're traded on the New York Stock Exchange, you're the #1 wrestling company on the planet, as for most people's eyes, and a competitor outbid you for a talent you developed into a mainstream wrestling crossover star. Here's what WWE actually dropped. They dropped the relationship. Brian Alvarez reported that WWE officials were shocked when Ronda appeared. Most of the locker room had no idea. A small handful of inside WWE knew, and nobody warned the rest of the company. That is a woman who had nothing left to say to the company at this point. Did WWE drop the ball? The ball, the jersey, the entire locker room? Sure. But we're not losing much. But anyway. Before we get to Toni Storm, I need you to hear something that even the dirt sheets are barely covering. A WWE commentator went on record and defended AEW for signing her, which was Booker T. He said it 2 years ago that Tony Khan was interested in getting Ronda at AEW. Why not? Booker T suggested it back then, that Tony Khan is actively looking to make a big impact by acquiring top talent like Ronda Rousey, regardless of the financial investment required, because apparently the Khan's piggy bank is full. On paper, it makes perfect sense. Ronda is a legitimate combat sports pioneer, former UFC women's champ, a woman who has actually submitted people in a real fight, Hollywood talent, wrestling talent. Put her across from Toni Storm's timeless diva character, you've got real contrast. Killer versus actress. A compelling story. The crowd reaction proves it. They hated Ronda being there, which means the angle has heat. It's good booking on paper, but here's where it gets complicated, unfortunately, because according to Fightful Select, and it's been confirmed by AEW, AEW is not expecting Toni Storm to be cleared to wrestle for the rest of 2026 because she got injured after Revolution. The injury is real. She was pulled from Dynamite this week after Revolution. The rematch with Shafir never happened. Apparently an unknown assailant, storyline-wise, took her out before the show even aired. And Dave Meltzer, who had the receipt from day one, wrote in the Wrestling Observer that, quote, nothing at all is indicating a Rousey versus Storm match is actually happening, though. Rousey herself, Meltzer noted, hasn't pushed AEW for a follow-up. She hasn't said anything positive about AEW publicly, hasn't said anything negative about WWE either. She showed up, did the angle, and went quiet. So, is Ronda the right person to dethrone Toni Storm as the top talent in AEW? Conceptually, to maybe a few out there, absolutely, but honestly, not to everyone. Is it happening? That's a completely different question that we won't know for years from now, until Toni Storm comes back. But she isn't legitly signed as we speak. No one has confirmed she's all elite yet. And if AEW can't get there when Toni Storm comes back, they're going to have a booking problem before it even started, because you don't build a Rousey versus Storm and then put Ronda in a random program until Storm comes back. That kills the heat faster than anything, and the clock apparently is already ticking. So let's talk about the money, because at the end of the day is what the story is really about. TKO, which owns both WWE and UFC, is a publicly traded company, as I said a billion times by now. By every metric, they should be able to outspend anybody in the entertainment and sports world, let alone a wrestling promotion owned by the son of a billionaire. But Tony Khan opened his checkbook and paid Ronda Rousey what she asked for, and WWE, with all their resources and all their TKO infrastructure, couldn't make happen. Now, to be fair, Meltzer himself called Ronda debut more of an annoyance than a game changer for wrestling. And I think that's fair in the long-term picture. One, appearance doesn't win a war, but here's what it does do. It tells every free agent talent in wrestling or on every roster, whether it's WWE, TNA, House of Glory, whatever, that Tony Khan is still in the game, that AEW is willing to spend, that the door is open. WWE's been locked into their own ecosystem, Netflix, WrestleMania, premium live events. They may have gotten comfortable in their talent relationship. Ronda Rousey told you everything you needed to know about that comfort level by showing up where she did. Money talks. And right now, Tony Khan's money is talking directly to your wrestling timeline. Now, here's the thing that most people in the IOC is sleeping on as we speak. This might not just be about wrestling. Meltzer said, a source close to the situation says Rousey AEW appearance is tied to a vendetta against TKO. Now, that's what Dave Meltzer is saying, so you know what to mean. Take it with a grain of salt. Specifically over a compensation dispute involving the Gina Carano fight. Here's the background. Ronda has been trying to make a fight with Carano happen for over a year, under UFC though, and which is obviously under TKO, which means WWE. The fight was negotiated, and then when the pay-per-view deal fell through, TKO changed the compensation terms. She turned to Jake Paul's MVP promotion. The fight is now set for May 2026 on Netflix, and how does Ronda Rousey end up with Jake Paul on a Jake Paul card? Obviously in the world where TKO burned that bridge for her. So when she walked into Tony Khan's house on one of the biggest AEW nights in years, it wasn't just a wrestling move. That was a message, not to wrestling fans though, because she hates us all, to TKO. I don't need you. It's basically what she said. And whether you're a Ronda Rousey fan or not, that's a shoot. That is real world business drama playing out inside a professional wrestling ring. And that's exactly why this story is bigger than the IWC understands right now. So where does this leave us? WWE dropped the ball on the relationship with Ronda Rousey, maybe not in 2023 when she left, but in the year and a half since that bridge is burnt. The Rousey versus Storm match is conceptually perfect, but realistically uncertain, with Storm potentially out of the rest for the rest of 2026. AEW has a booking clock running and nothing concrete in the works. And Tony Khan just spent real money to make a point absolutely needed to make, and the numbers backed him up on every single metric. Now, I want to hear from you. Is Ronda Rousey a legitimate game changer for AEW if she is really signed? Or is Meltzer right and this fades in 2 weeks? Is she actually the right person to work with Toni Storm if Storm comes back? And does TKO Vendetta angle change how you feel about why she showed up? Drop it in the comments, let me know, and I'll see you on the next video.